Well, Helen Keller said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing. And it certainly feels coming home to Marietta is a key milestone in my daring adventure. So in the words of the immortal philosopher and petroleum engineering chair, Elmer E. Templeton, the benefit of getting a petroleum engineering degree at a liberal arts college, specifically Marietta, is that you'll have something interesting to say at cocktail parties. That line, along with the promise that I could be successful in other careers with a petroleum engineering degree, even go to medical school, after all, a heart is just a pump, caught my mother's attention when we met Templeton in 1972 during my tour of colleges. I was interested in studying geology, having grown up collecting fossils in creeks near my home in southwestern Ohio. But Elmer told my mother, geology is a nice hobby, but if you want to make some money, you need to be a petroleum engineer. He then sealed the deal with the offer of oil company scholarships and lucrative summer jobs. Done. My future was cast. I became Elmer's experiment. The first female petroleum engineering student at MC, the first woman at the Alney Oilman's outing, the first woman company man in the Gulf of Mexico, the first woman working for Chevron in the Danish sector of the North Sea. Little did I realize that Marietta was literally going to make me a pioneer. Go Pios! The oil patch was good to me, but in 1982 there was a gas bubble, an oversupply, and on my first hitch back to the Gulf after returning from Denmark, there were 3 other company men on the rig I was assigned. That was 3 company men too many for me, so I decided it was time to go back to school. I received an MBA from Harvard in 1984 and changed careers, focusing on corporate strategy and organizational change. In 1994, I launched my own consulting company. So Elmer was right. With a petroleum engineering degree, I could be successful doing whatever I wanted to. More recently, in 2009, my wonderful husband, John, and I bought our retirement home in Pawleys Island, South Carolina, just 2 blocks from the Atlantic Ocean, and a lot warmer than it is here today, I have to say. I immediately fell in love with our coast, the salt marshes, the wetlands, and the rivers of the low country. In 2014, I learned that the petroleum industry was lobbying our elected officials for their support to drill off our coast. They had already gleaned the support of our governor and the governors of Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia. This block of governors had agreed to offer our mid and South Atlantic coast to the Obama administration for oil and gas exploration. Word spread quickly that our coast was at risk, and in February of 2015, Stop Offshore Drilling in the Atlantic, or SODA as we like to call it, was formed. SODA is a nonpartisan, all-volunteer group of local residents committed to this single effort to stop offshore exploration and drilling in the Atlantic. Little did I know I was going to become a spokesperson against the industry that had brought me up. SODA is the hardest working, most dedicated team of people I've ever been a part of. We've hosted educational events from DC to Atlanta and all across South Carolina. Along with our partners, we've collected over 300 resolutions against seismic surveys and offshore drilling from every municipality along the coast, as well as fishing, tourism, and hospitality groups. We've met with local, state, and federal officials. I've testified before US and state congressional committees. We were successful in stopping the Obama administration's drilling program in 2016 and are working tirelessly to do the same with the current administration. You may think I'm a hypocrite. I got mine from the industry, then got out. But the nation's petroleum supply and demand situation was very different when I graduated in 1977 than it is now. In 1977, the US had experienced 2 gasoline shortages during the Arab oil embargoes of 73 and 76. President Jimmy Carter had installed solar panels on the White House. And we petroleum engineering students anticipated that there was only a 40-year supply of oil and gas left. We were concerned then about acid rain. Coal was the bad fuel. And we fully expected that by now, 41 years after I graduated, that we would have made a significant move to renewable energy, but that hasn't happened. What I hope you understand now that we didn't have a clue about then is that the burning of fossil fuels and the use of plastics are irreparably harming our planet. Where I live, we've had 5 historic storm and flooding events in each of the last 5 years. And not just along the coast, but as far inland as our state capital. Microplastics are increasing in our beaches and oceans, and our marine life is literally being strangled by plastics in the water. It's estimated that by 2050, there will be as much plastic as fish in our oceans. So we must make changes now for your future to be secure. Most executives I know have broadened their expertise over the course of their careers, and that will be even truer for our young graduates. I'm pleased to see that there are now 2 energy system minors at Marietta, and it's always been a good idea to couple an engineering degree with an MBA. I hope in addition to your petroleum engineering and liberal arts classes, you plan to become a lifelong learner. I hope you also study our political system. Change does not happen through technology alone. Our democracy also requires the political will to create changes to our national policies. My 32-year-old son says he hates to hear people my age say, well, we messed it up, you'll have to fix it. I don't blame him. While it's true that my generation certainly made a lot of mistakes, a lot of us are working very hard to fix those mistakes. One of the most important things I've learned since I've been working to protect our coast are 4 very simple and yet very powerful words. I am your constituent. Every conversation I have with my elected representatives begins with those 4 words, and I've used them from Pawleys Island to Columbia to Washington, D.C. The most powerful action we can take is to vote. I urge you all to know the candidates who are going to appear on your ballot November 6th and vote for a better future. Thank you, President Rood and the Marietta College Alumni Association for this honor. Thank you to the faculty who prepared me for this amazing life. And thank you to the former heads of admission, Jay Showalter, and my newly found neighbor in Pawleys Island, Ross Lenhart, for sending me to the petroleum engineering department instead of the geology department during that college visit back in 1972.